Good evening. I thought I would say a few words about welfare reform. I went to a meeting last week whereby the issue was discussed at an autism meeting. They actually had somebody from the local CAB who was talking about these welfare reforms that will affect disabled people that's currently going through Parliament. From what little I remember and understood of what was said, I will try and reiterate the following. Number one, council tax benefit and housing benefit will be decided on a much more local basis than has done previously. So systematically, you're going to have potentially more of a postcode lottery if these welfare reforms goes through. That's number one. Number two is if you go into hospital and you're on ESA, employment support allowance, or those sort of benefits, then even if you're in hospital potentially one night, you can see you can see that benefit just removed overnight. These were not things I was aware of. Another thing I was told, which I found rather staggering, was if you own a house and you've ever been on any kind of benefits at any point in your life, when the house is sold after you die, you have to pay those benefits back out of the money that you get from selling your house. And it just feels like a poll tax that people would have to pay when they die. And it doesn't sound right to me. That's not democracy, nor is it fair. Also, the issue of care for disabled people, the cuts to DLA, PIP, whatever you want to call it, are not good for disabled people. I think there seems to be a sense of what was said or written down that people like the social services or whatever will be able to fill in the gap. But social services departments are certainly not very good with people who are very complex disability, i.e. my ongoing dispute with them, like not being able to have a hair wash, a hair wash twice a week, which everyone else thinks is perfectly reasonable with my MS and everything else, but the social services just have this rule that they apply one size fits all. We don't pay for hair washes. When it comes to things like medicals, criteria is very often used, and fluctuating conditions, rather like I've got MS, that kind of thing, ones that can fluctuate potentially from day to day, are the first that will lose out under such a medical, or potentially lose out, unless it's very, very clear cut. So certainly what I would suggest is anyone who's in that position is try and have as many evidence-based letters as you can get your hands on, because they can go a long way towards passing a medical. And obviously I have 17 different medical conditions, but I've never been one who fits easily into criteria. And I'm somebody who is very particular about how I like my support given. I make reasonable decisions, which the social services and health potentially can view as, not fitting into what they view as things and their remit, their money. Hopefully over time that will start to change for me, but at the moment it hasn't. Fingers crossed is all I can say. I'm waiting to move. The cutbacks to housing benefit may or may not affect me. Council tax benefit continues to be a worry because I've never paid that before, and I have very little money left. As for when I die, I will never own a home, but I thought that other people should be aware that this change is being debated. It seems like not a day goes by whereby there is not more bad news about people on benefits losing out. For a long time, disability living allowance, people were saying, well, we have to increase it over time. But this government has cut, quite a lot out of the budget and is making life so much harder for disabled people. And I don't blame charities for wanting to protect people like that and instigating a potential legal action. I really hope that such a legal action is successful, because it seems like the English courts don't seem to care about how clients potentially feel, and the European Court of Human Rights might take much more of a human view, a human basic view, because it is down to clients. I want to see much more personalisation, less money spent on experts who tell disabled people how to live their own lives, more personalisation, more choice, and basically getting the funding to the front line of those who really need it. But you must slim down the assessment process. These people, are making some people's lives a misery. And as for this government, there are already potentially people I've heard about heard of in passing online, etc., who have lost their lives being stressed out about medicals. It isn't right. It's a one-size-fits-all mentality, and I think these medicals need to be scrapped, and it should be done on a case-by-case basis as to who qualifies for such help. I'm very complex, and I have a certain disabilities that aren't going to get better. So my going to a medical, well, it might cost so much money, but it's not going to help anyone. It's not going to help me. It's not going to help anybody else in a similar position who has got 17 different medical conditions. Not that I'm saying that's everyone. Anyway, I hope you understand what I've tried to say. I wish you well and have a good rest of the week. And I hope you'll enjoy, and hope I'll have better news in my next video. Goodbye for now, everyone.